Hi, welcome to the Cab Gallery. I'm Jessica Vorsanger. It used to be that traditional artists wore a beret and a smock. Now we wear our seatbelts. Be the art star that you are, and buckle up for safety. Enjoy your visit.
You're in
This exhibition moves me. No, it really does. And that's because it's in the back of a London taxi. It's called Cab Gallery, and it's one unusual way of experiencing art. Indeed, art experience is the theme of today's Eye Contact. Later on, we'll be meeting up with the duo behind all of this, and also hooking up with the man behind online gallery Paper Veins, which is a truly beautiful and quite frankly moving encounter. So Driver, what's all this about then?
Well, it's quite an interesting story really. It all started in 1999 when I first met Paul Stolper in his gallery.
Jason would come by quite frequently. He bought a painting by Peter Liversidge.
And we got talking about the cab.
And when he told me he was a cab driver and a London black cab driver, I was just like, this is it, this is perfect.
He said, that sounds interesting.
There was this little bundle of metal racing around London with art strapped to the back of it on the inside. And it was fun just to see how many different ways artists were going to interpret the space.
The first exterior piece for the cab was by Bob and Roberta Smith.
And in very true Bob and Roberta Smith style, it was the word taxi misspelt.
T-A-X-Y in big red and yellow bold text. We've moved on from Bob and Roberta Smith. We now have the American artist Alex Katz. It's one of his early images from the 70s. We've recreated on the side of the cab. It's sunny, as you can see just behind me.
Christo and Jean-Claude have sent something along.
Thomas and Laurie Clark.
Susie Hamilton.
Claudia Reyes.
Annabelle Cohn did a fantastic cushion.
Donald Smith.
Rachel Beckett did a fantastic cushion.
Jessica Vorsanger.
Graham Parker and Dave McIntosh, who work under the name of Bono and Sting.
Brian Eno.
Tanya Ling will be doing something.
Susan Hiller.
Oh, lots of people, lots of people.
Cab Gallery is very much a working taxi. The passengers are seeing the art as it is in the taxi, and they're left there to interact with it.
That's really the kind of the star, the fact that it just goes around London, regardless of anyone's opinion, with art on the inside and the outside.
I feel it's important that the project has a life, that it should end after a period of time. So by September 2001, it would have run its course, it would have been 2 years. And after that, the cab would just go back to being a regular taxi around London. I'm the cabbie. I'm a real cabbie rather than an actor or anything.
I'm seeing Robins now everywhere.
I'm an art dealer. And when he told me he was a cab driver and how much he loved art, it just made perfect sense. Peter Liversidge is an artist that I show, and he's done many, many works for Cab Gallery. So he compiled all the proposals together and made a book.
And the book itself is just a group of ideas and, well, proposed ideas that are intended for the cab, you know, changing the interior or changing the exterior. Affecting the space. When Jason arrives, what I intend to do is install a small stuffed robin into the back of the cab.
This is just this little bundle of metal that travels around London showing art on the inside and the outside. It's allowed us to work just a huge number of great artists. physically it's a small space. It just seems to be a venue that really opens up their minds to do almost anything they want.
Robins are extremely territorial birds. They have an area where their nest is in the wild, where they feed and rear their young, and they'll fight off birds, blackbirds, or even, I imagine they'd even sort of puff themselves up and trying to go up to magpies and trying to shoo them off. When you're a passenger going from A to B, you feel almost cocooned and safe within this little territory. It's your little space, your safe haven. The photograph of the robin, the documentation of the piece, is actually going to go in these flip-up seats where this photograph is now. I really have no idea how they're going to react.
Well, I think the passengers are going to be very surprised to see a little robin in the cab.
I just hope no one sits on it, really.
It's primarily a working taxi, so it's my cab, but I have art, which is interesting for me and hopefully interesting for the passengers.
Well, I think if I got in the cab and saw a robin, I wonder what was going on.
That's a bit alarming at first, seeing, because it looks so real. But I think it's cute.
I sat on a piece of artwork there.
Look, these are cushions that naturally sit in the cab.
Cushions, question is, for my size, perhaps the cushion pushes me a bit too far forward. So I prefer to be the back there.
I don't know if you recognise the material there. That's by Rachel Beckett. It's called
Right,
Home,
yeah.
and it's the same material used on the buses and the
Right, okay.
District line.
Yes. Yes. I'm not sure that adds anything to it, actually, the cushion.
Well, the cab gallery is certainly different, interesting, bizarre, slightly surreal, actually.
At the end of the journey, the passenger always gets a receipt, and for Cab Gallery we have special Cab Gallery receipts that lists all the details of the artists involved, contact details for Paul and myself. And I like the idea of them taking the receipt home, and even if they haven't noticed the artwork, they might get home and look at the receipt and think about it and just wonder what that experience was through their day.
Cab Gallery 2 is going to be the last collection of artists and works that we do.
Paul and I plan to keep the project going up until August 2001. We've got a lot of artist work to show. We're not sure which form it's going to take. It's all artist-led, so it's going to be quite a surprise as to what comes up over the next year.
Who knows, maybe it'll be Jason driving Cab Gallery in all the different cities, and we'll be curating artists from different countries, which would be fantastic.
Hello and welcome to Focus, the Arts Magazine programme. I'm Tim Marlowe, but we start proceedings with comedian Kim Noble, who hitches a cab ride for a trip with a twist.
Isle of Man, please, mate.
Hi, welcome to the Cab Gallery. I'm Jessica Vorsanger. It used to be that traditional artists wore a beret and a smock. Now we wear our seatbelts. Be the art star that you are, and buckle up for safety. Enjoy your visit.
Excuse me, mate.
Yes,
You're the cabbie, aren't you?
I'm the cabbie.
Yeah. Mate said cabbies know everything. You couldn't answer me two questions, could you?
Anything you like.
Yeah. I've lost my letter from the benefits office. I don't know where that is. And B, what the hell was that? And can you answer that one first for me?
Well, that was a greeting by Jessica Vorsanger. That was a sound piece we play in the cab. There's a Cab Gallery, and that's an introduction to the artworks.
Cab Gallery.
Cab Gallery, that's right.
What's that then?
Cab Gallery, it's a working taxi, But instead of having advertising on the inside and outside, we have original artworks by a group of local and international artists.
But I thought galleries were like quite big and white, yeah? And then you could sort of go around and look at work like that. Isn't that where art's supposed to be?
No, not at all. Art can be seen everywhere these days. What we're doing here is we're taking it out of the confines of the gallery and giving it and showing it to the unsuspecting passengers.
And what's the sort of reaction been to these works? Because there's a photo on this seat here that looks vaguely like you.
It is me. That's a beautiful photo of me by Jess Malik. That was an interesting one. You know, it depends on what I have in it at the time as to what reaction I get from the passenger. If it's something that could look like an advert, then obviously I wouldn't get so much of a reaction. If it's something that looks just so unusual, then to provoke questions, they will ask. The portrait of me, yeah, that certainly got some questions. They usually when they came round to pay through the window here, they'll do a double take and they think I'm just really vain.
I've always loved London taxis, always. And as an art dealer, I've always seen the potential of a black London taxi as being the perfect vehicle for showing art. And it was one of those ideas you just tuck away and actually don't even think about. And when I met Jason, and he finally did tell me he was a cab driver, I was like, oh, this is brilliant. It's the perfect idea. He had harbored exactly the same thoughts about showing art in a cab, so much so that he didn't accept advertising in his taxi because he knew he wanted to do something artistic with it. An artist would love to show in cab gallery because it gives them a completely different sort of space to show their art in. Some people have done audio cassettes, some people have made cushions, some people have put works in the flip-up seats, and that can be photography or drawing or text pieces. So it really allows them to not only possibly make something that's unique and different for them from their normal working lives, but also to put it in a space that is completely different as well. A sort of vehicle that travels around London. The piece is made and then it just lives its own life somehow.
You've had some quite well-established artists, haven't you, putting some work in here?
For the artist's point of view, I think they're just interested because it's something very unusual for them to think about. As I said, it's taking the art out of the gallery. Whether or not they're thinking of their artwork in terms of movement and travel, or just to place it within a new setting.
I mean, I've got this mate called Dave, yeah, who does these 10 foot by 10 foot canvases. Could he? We could go there now, actually.
Yeah.
Go around to his warehouse, and would he be allowed to put some work in here?
A 10 foot by 10 foot canvas.
Yeah.
Well, you see, I'm going to have to think of the passengers.
I think someone's left one of their books in the cab.
No, that's one of the artist's books that's placed on the back shelf for the passengers to pick up.
Well, this one here.
Which one have you got there?
There's sort of sketches.
That's a book of sketches by Susie Hamilton
Right.
from a specific journey. That's from Belsize Lane to Rhondda Grove. And those are quick sketches done from inside the cab.
They're amazing. Do you know who they are? Did she get them to sort of stand at the road? Are they all models, are they?
They're not. They're just pedestrians. There are people with dogs and people strolling around. In fact, there's a couple of me, the back of my head. We obviously went down a couple of streets, there was no one there, so she sketched a nice back portrait.
Right. No, headrest things saying air cab. What?
The Air Cab series is an installation from Claudia Reyes. Here she's developing the journey from the taxi to the airport using the same material found on planes.
There's also a cushion.
The cushion, the Air Cab, and she's also going to continue the series with a sick bag, which hopefully won't be used. And
there is a sick bag in here now?
Tray. No, she's working on that.
Right, I might have to stop in a minute. I went to the National Gallery the other day, and I've noticed one big difference between here and the National Gallery.
Just one?
Just one. You haven't got a shop. You think of opening up a little shop, you sell sort of postcards and those acoustic guide things to sort of, so you can get more of, you might be able to earn a bit on the side as well with that.
But this, I'm really interested in knowing about, but no, basically.
No, you're not gonna. I thought it was a good idea. Nice one, mate.
Be lucky.